Right, in September 2020, the UK lost its richest man to Monaco, and the number everyone keeps quoting, 4 billion quid. And it's not quite right. It's close enough to be alarming and wrong enough to be worth explaining properly. Because the real story is more interesting than the headline. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is the founder of INEOS, chemicals, petrochemicals, cycling, Formula One, and now Manchester United. He's worth somewhere between 17 and 29 billion, depending on which year you're asking and what the chemicals market is doing. He was born in Failsworth near Oldham, went to state school, got a chemistry degree from Birmingham and built INEOS into one of the largest private companies. This didn't happen overnight. The Sunday Times broke the story in February 2019. Ratcliffe and his two co-founders, Andy Curry and John Rees, were working with PwC on a tax plan. The estimates at the time were that the three of them, between them, could shelter somewhere between 400 million and £4 billion from UK tax. The 4 billion everyone quotes is the top end of an estimate, not an actual audited figure. What happened next is where it genuinely gets interesting. PwC's auditors were asked by INEOS to publicly confirm that Ratcliffe was not a Monaco resident. PwC had seen his SEC filing, which listed his principal business address as Les Splendido apartment block in Monaco. PwC refused to confirm he wasn't there. When your auditor quits rather than sign off your boss's address, the plan's already out. To be precise about that number, it covered 3 people. It was a potential future saving, and the mythology was never published. What we know for certain is that Ratcliffe, who owned about 62% of INEOS, would have taken the lion's share of whatever the real figure turns out to be. Let's do the mechanics, because this is the interesting bit. It is not complicated. Ratcliffe became non-UK resident, non-domiciled. The press gets those two things confused all the time, and they're completely different. A non-dom is a UK resident claiming a foreign domicile, which historically let them avoid tax on foreign income they didn't bring into the UK. That got abolished in April 2025. Non-residency is different. You actually leave. You satisfy the statutory residence test as a non-UK resident. After that, the UK can only tax you on UK-sourced income. Everything else, foreign dividend, offshore business income, capital gains on foreign assets, is outside UK tax entirely. Monaco has no income tax, no capital gains tax, no wealth tax. If you are a Monaco resident and you receive income from a company registered in the Isle of Man or Switzerland or Luxembourg, which INEOS is across multiple entities, you pay nothing, legally, permanently. INEOS itself has a layered structure. The ultimate parent is the Isle of Man registered. There is a Swiss holding company that's been there since 2010. When INEOS moved to Switzerland for 6 years and saved roughly £100 million a year in UK corporation tax during that exile, when they came back to the UK in 2015, the Swiss architecture didn't disappear. It just had a London office added on top. Between 2016 and 2021, INEOS paid nearly £500 million in management fees to the 3 founders. That is more than twice the company's UK tax bill over the same period. And it's not illegal, it's structure. The part HMRC might still win. Here's where it gets genuinely uncertain, and a tax channel has to tell you this honestly. Ratcliffe's residency is Monaco, that is confirmed. He spends time in Hampshire, he has a property there, but he stays within the non-resident day count limits. He went ahead and bought 27% of Manchester United for over £1 billion, which means he is deeply involved in UK business. None of that forces you back into UK residency if you manage the days correctly. The statutory residence test is clear on that. But there is a second question, and that's domicile. Residency and domicile are not the same thing. Your domicile of origin, where your father was domiciled when you were born, follows you. For UK inheritance tax, domicile is what matters, not residence. Even as a Monaco resident, if HMRC considers Ratcliffe to be UK domiciled at the time of his death, his entire worldwide estate could be subject to 40% inheritance tax. Proving a genuine change of domicile requires more than just an address. It requires demonstrating that you have genuinely abandoned your English domicile of origin and acquired a new one. Ratcliffe has described himself publicly as passionately British. He has a Hampshire estate. He bought Manchester United. Tax lawyers at the time noted on the record that proving a change of domicile may be impossible to get past HMRC given those facts. There's been no confirmed HMRC challenge to his residency publicly, at least. HMRC doesn't comment on individual cases, but the IHT question remains open. Given the sums involved, that is not a small open question. Then, in December 2023, Ratcliffe bought into Manchester United. A British billionaire, a Monaco resident, paying over £1 billion for a stake in arguably the most famous British sports brand in the world. He has the tax position on that. He can be a Monaco resident and own Manchester United. He can attend matches in England. He can run the sporting operations. What he can't do if he wants to stay non-UK resident is exceed his day count limit in the UK any given tax year. For a former UK resident with the tie he has, a property, active business involvement, the threshold is 90 days. That is a tight window for someone running one of the Premier League's biggest clubs. One meeting, one event, one board session too many, and the statutory residence test catches him for the whole year. That is exactly the kind of scrutiny that comes with operating at this scale. Right, now the part that actually matters for this channel. You are not Jim Ratcliffe, but the mechanism he used, non-UK residency offshore holding structure, income flowing through a company in a low tax jurisdiction, is not unique to billionaires. The principles scale down. If you are a UK director with a business that generates income, you do not need to extract immediately. The question is not, can I move to Monaco? The question is whether your structure is optimized for the stage you're at. Are you extracting income in a way that attracts 45% income tax when you could be retaining it at 25% corporation tax? Are your company's intellectual property and licensing arrangements structured correctly? Is the money arriving in the most efficient wrapper? Ratcliffe didn't save £4 billion by being a genius. He saved it by having advisors who understood the rules and structured accordingly before the income arrived, not after. The difference between his position and most directors is scale, not concept. If you run a limited company and you think your structure might be leaving money in the wrong place, not Monaco, just the wrong entity or the wrong extraction method, the link to apply is in the description. apply.ctprivateoffice.com. We look at the whole picture. We do not take everyone, but if this made sense to you, you are probably the right person. Right, so that is the Ratcliffe story told straight. 4 billion or somewhere between 400 million and 4 billion, depending on which paper you read and whether you trust a PwC estimate that never had its methodology published. What is not in doubt is the mechanism, and the mechanism is available. Subscribe, because this channel exists to explain the things advisors charge by the hour to tell you.